Oh. So, hey everybody, I'm Mike Coppolino. I'm a stand-up comedian, unfortunately. And I have to tell some jokes to practice. Because I have to kind of know my own voice, I guess. So, 2020, what a great year for sociologists. Let's start off at a great joke, you know? Oh, man. It's probably the year coke addicts felt the least paranoid. It just went with the times. That's what I think. All I know is 2021 is going to be like the year Smokey the Bear puts a gun in his mouth. 2021 is going to be the year Smokey the Bear puts a gun in his mouth just to show everyone how serious he is. Ugh, man. Yeah. It's been a rough year for sociologists, I'll tell you, you know? It's like a year being professionally unemployed. But I had a decent job for a little bit. I got to be a secret Santa at drug tests. Yeah, I got to apply for jobs at box stores on drugs. And I got paid for it. That was my year. Yeah, I'd go to IKEA and I would apply for a job on drugs. I'd be on drugs and just apply for a job. And then I'd get approved and I'd go to a job interview totally on drugs. I get totally on drugs and I get past the job interview and they make me pee in a cup. And then I pee in a cup and they say, "Oh, Mr. Coppolino, bad news. You're hired, you get the job." Hey, you're hired. And they say, when could you start bagging fertilizer at the shit factory? And then I shake their hands and I go back to my car. And I put a mark in my book, saying, these corporations are really running a new system. They're getting it right. Yeah, they're getting it right because these guys are working for minimum wage. They got to be on drugs to push boxes in these times. I just tell these managers, good job, Yeah, we've been actually talking to the city, us sociologists. And we're telling people, if they hire people for minimum wage, they got to put, showers in their place of business. Because we're trying to stimulate plumbers into, propping up the economy. Yeah, we got to install showers at these places of business, Because if these people are working for minimum wage, they're probably, living in a tent on the side of the road. Yeah, they're probably living in a tent on the side of the road, and every morning they got to, stumble out of that tent and limp to their place of business, through a bunch of dog shit. And then when they get to McDonald's, they got to work the register. And that's no good because that's how you get hepatitis. And they don't take that into account when they're paying you minimum wage. So we've been pushing for showers at McDonald's. That's what we do. We provide for the public trust. We're good for morale. Man. Yeah, it'll be $3 for a shower at McDonald's. But probably $2 for a shower at Burger King because they'll be competitive. They just give you a shower with less water. Less heat. God. Oh, man. Yeah, 2020's been a rough year for stand-up comedy because nobody can make any money. Nobody can make any money. Nobody, say, "Hi, how are you? I'm a stand-up comic," and get all close and everything and sign an autograph. So I'm going to be a mad scientist this year. That's my goal. Yeah, I'm going to, make it an athlete's foot medication with nicotine in it. That's going to be my mad science. Just make an athlete's foot medication with nicotine in it. And people could just get addicted to having clean feet. It's a great mad science scheme. It's $1 million idea. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm gonna breed dogs for a year, and I'm gonna make a dog without any bones in his face. That's another scheme I got going. I'm gonna make a dog without any bones in his face, so people could just feel sad about how cute it is. It'll be really expensive and hard to maintain, And it'll have a genetic marker in it, so when you run out of empathy, it just dies on schedule. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, I also want to make some Dark Side Star Wars memorabilia. I want to make Dark Side Star Wars memorabilia, but I want it to be all illegal. Like illegal Dark Side Star Wars memorabilia. I'm just going to package all the severed limbs from the Star Wars series and put them in bags with authentic looking decals. And I'm just going to sell them to people for $300. I'll tell people they can buy Luke Skywalker's original hand for $300. It'll be in a blood-soaked bag. You know, it'll be life-size and like have all the weight of a real hand, so like true Star Wars fans can jerk off with the original hand. It'd be like a side bonus, you know, or choke themselves with it. You know, whatever they want to do. Yeah, I'm gonna sell a bunch of these hands, and then like Disney will get wind of it and they'll sue me. They'll just sue me like for like copyright infringement, and then I'll just get sued into existence. And that's also my business plan. Yeah. I got multiple business plans. You know, as a comedian, and also as a mad scientist. Like I want to make Tide Pods edible. I want to make Tide Pods that are edible and also able to get out tough stains. That's what I want, because then everything will have to be that safe. And that's like $1 billion idea right there. Because if you make laundry detergent edible, then all laundry detergent has to be edible. There's no way around it. You can't have laundry detergent that kills kids. Ugh. Oh, man. You can tell from the tone of my voice that I'm pretty old. I'm pretty old. Yeah, but people say I'm some fucking boomer because I have gray hair now, and they say, oh, you're a boomer. But no, I'm not a boomer. I'm like the first Gen Xer. I'm in that sweet spot, you know? Like, I just don't give a shit. And I know it. I know I don't give a shit. Because I grew up in a very important art era in the United States. I grew up in an art period. Yeah. It was like, oh man, it was fucked up. It was like worse than Thomas Kincaid. 1974. Yeah. When I was in kindergarten, it was 1974. And we made ashtrays in class. We made ashtrays in kindergarten. And then we got graded on it. We got graded on these ashtrays in kindergarten, and our grades were right on because they didn't have letter grades in kindergarten. And then, yeah. And then we brought these ashtrays home to our parents, and they were excited to see them. Like, because it was 1974 and everybody was on drugs. Like, even my kindergarten teacher was on drugs because we had full employment. Because there was a need for everyone because everyone was working for less. It was 1974. We were rebuilding, you know? So I brought this ashtray home to my parents. My parents said, oh, the school is teaching you real good because we were all like uneducated back then. And my parents kept their drugs in that ashtray. And so did I. And I still do because we kept that ashtray and we bring it out for Christmas. Yeah, it's like a Christmas decoration. The ashtray I made in kindergarten. Yeah. Yeah, my parents kept their Valium in it. Oh, man. So anyways, where were you when Charlie Manson died? Do you remember? I mean, it's like kind of a morbid idea, you know. Remember the time when Charlie Manson died? Do you remember where you were that exact moment? I unfortunately do. I do, because I follow, like, the media. Like, I remember when Charlie Manson had cancer 6 months before he died, and they announced it on the news. Oh, Charlie Manson has cancer. He's 81. He's gonna die. And I'm like, oh, good. And then Charlie Manson got married. He got married while he was on cancer, and he was 81. And his wife was like this Pat Benatar lookalike, and she was like 19 years old. And that made the news, and I thought, oh, this is really memorable. Charlie Manson is dying. Now, it's like imprinted on my brain that Charlie Manson is dying. Like in the last, few weeks of Charlie Manson's death. So I knew when Charlie Manson was dying. We all knew it. And we're trying to forget. Now you're starting to remember where you were when Charlie Manson died, probably. Some of you. No, but I remember the exact moment Charlie Manson died. Yeah. Yeah, it was like at night. It was at night. Yeah, I walked into my house, all depressed, and I had a huge plate of nachos. I had a huge plate of nachos with me, to go. And it was guacamole and cheese, and it had al pastor all over it, and tons of hot sauce and no sour cream, and just fucking great. It was the best. It was gonna be the best nachos. It was just go off my diet. Just say fuck it. And then I walked into my house and I turned on the lights, and then I turned on the television, and Charlie Manson was dead. And Charlie Manson was dead on the news. Charlie Manson's dead. 81. And I had nachos. And I just felt like I was celebrating by accident. It's the truth. I just sat down, put the nachos on the coffee table, opened it up, and started eating. Charlie Manson's dead. I thought, wow, this is a great moment in the history of nachos. This is the only moment in the history of nachos that anyone will remember, that the day Charlie Manson died. Because nachos just have a disposable history. We remember when it turned from shredded cheese to liquid cheese, and then it just got worse. And that's the history of nachos. But now it's peak history of nachos. Ugh, man. So you ever throw up on yourself because you're too fucked up to get out of the way? Anyone? Speaking of drugs, I have not. I have not thrown up on myself because I was too fucked up. Actually, I threw up on myself to protect my drugs. It's the truth. I was smoking a wand at 4 o'clock in the morning at some fancy Las Vegas party that I paid $300 to get into, and they were passing around these neurological cocktails, in vape pens. Saying here, try the new stuff. We don't know what's in it. And so I was smoking these vape pens on this rooftop, and I started throwing up because I was in a conversation, but I started throwing up. So I just put my hand over the vape pen to keep from throwing up on the vape pen, because I thought that would be rude. And then when I was done throwing up, I just got back into the conversation. I just handed that vape pen off. It was totally protected. I was a hero that night. I just sat around for 15 minutes with vomit all over my hands, pretending not to notice, until I had a proper time to get to the restroom, a proper break in the conversation. That's how important this Vegas party was, I'll tell you. Yeah. I also throw up on myself just to keep from cleaning up my car. If I'm driving and I'm throwing up, I always vomit on my chest. Because that's smart. That way when you pull over, you just brush off all the vomit and you go back to work. Because you're essential to your job and you got to make child support payments. That's what you do if you're a dad. You brush all the vomit off your chest and you climb in that hole and start digging. But I have to tell dad jokes. I mean, that's part of my routine as a stand-up comic, because dads show up and they have money and they want to spend more money on drugs and shit, and this is a good excuse to come buy drugs and see a comedy show. That's what I would do if I was a dad. I had extra money. No, but I tell imitation dad jokes because I don't have any kids. I don't have any kids. I'm just a successful comic. That's how you do it. You're a successful comic. You don't have any kids. You made it. Yeah, and it's funny to me because there's all these young comics that show up to me, and I'm 51, so I'm an old comic to these young comics. And they show up and they wish I was their dad. They just think, oh, I wish you were my dad, and I laugh at them because if I was their dad, I wouldn't be funny or cool. I wouldn't be funny or cool at all. I'd just be worried. Like, who is my kid doing drugs with? Like, he should be succeeding at life and developing a business. Instead, he's doing this shit. Like, what is he hoping to accomplish? Ugh, man. Yeah, I actually had a comedian, like a real comedian, accuse me of being a nihilist. He accused me of being a nihilist. I said, "Oh, thank you for really fucking nailing it." Yeah, I'm a nihilist. I'm a comic. Look at these times. You know? I mean, fuck. It's like comedy's a money laundering scheme, almost. Like, you just gotta pretend it's funny now. You know, and then you pay for it. Like, later. But, I don't know, I came out here to tell jokes. So I might as well tell jokes. So I guess I'll tell 10 jokes and get out of here. Because that's classic. Just tell 10 jokes. Oh. So anyways, I saw the new Wonder Woman movie. It was a Wonder Woman porno. It was like the latest one. Yeah, it was the one where Wonder Woman uses her vagina as a golden lasso. Yeah, she uses her vagina as a golden lasso. She screws people and she gets them to tell the truth. That was the theme of the porno. Yeah. But the latest one, I mean, there's a bunch of them. They all have the same theme. But the latest one didn't have much of a budget. You know, because every time Wonder Woman screwed someone, they just told her they were addicted to heroin. Thank you. Oh. So anyways, people keep telling me I live in a bad neighborhood because I live there. Yeah, but it's not true. I actually live in a bad neighborhood because I built my own house. And I built my own house. I didn't follow any rules. Oh. So hey, the early bird gets the worm, right? Like the early bird gets the worm, but the meth bird stays awake. So in that scenario, who really gets the worm, early bird or meth bird? Yes, it's actually the early bird that still gets the worm, because the meth bird is never hungry. Yes. It's never hungry. It just gets its worms out of a storage locker somewhere, you know? You know, people don't know where he gets his worms. Some people think the meth bird steals his worms from other worms, and that's why the meth bird is always so hungry. You know? Oh, I gotta keep track of the number of these jokes, because they're so terrible. Oh. So anyways, I'm the first self-aware conspiracy theorist. So, bully for me. Yeah, I think facts are conspiring to make me look idiotic. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm a stand-up comedian. So I have a cocaine problem. I'm a stand-up comedian, so I have a cocaine problem. But once I got caught, and I had to go to NA meetings, and I was fucked up. I was like so strung out. I had to like wave my paycheck around almost 3 minutes before I got any coke. Man, people say the hardest thing about being the Illuminati is pretending you're not at the meetings. You know, that's not true. Actually, the hardest thing about being the Illuminati is trying to find a twerking video of 57 views or less. That's like the worst. That's the hardest thing. I put these people on missions. You know? They got to try and figure out how to be popular, you know? These people that watch twerking videos, you know, they got to like find one with 57 views or less. Because then they say, oh, I'm a groundbreaker, like I'm some media influencer. And then the next day it has 50,000 views. And then they just think they're popular, and they go to like some building and they photograph themselves with like wings behind them. You know, and they say, look at me, you know. I'm one of the first Yelp reviews, like of society. Yeah, it's really good for their self-esteem, and it hurts my fingers for like clicking so many times, you know. Got to click so many times on this computer, like saying you've watched this like twerking video. You've got a whole team of like people doing that. Oh man, so my new fetish is looking suspicious. It's super easy. Yeah, whenever I go to the airport, I just wear a turban. Yeah, I walk around the airport with a turban and a huge boner. It's true. You know, sometimes when I see the cops, I just start running. I just start running, but then they catch me because it's hard to run when you're jerking off. Oh, God. Oh, man, so... Oh, I gotta think of a better joke now. Jesus. I'm just gonna tell some, like, stupid and smart jokes. I'm gonna tell stupid and smart jokes. Like, that'll be the end of this, like, thing. Alright. So I saw the news today. This famous burlesque group, the Suicide Girls, yeah, they're being sued. They're being sued for breach of contract. It's true. Yeah, as part of the settlement, they'll be staging their live reenactment of Shirley Jackson's famous short story, The Lottery. Yeah, Shirley Jackson's short story, The Lottery. M. Night Shyamalan's all signed on to direct the shower scene. It's pretty grim. It's grim. It's like the grimmest thing and the most realistic thing M. Night Shyamalan has ever done. Yeah. And of course, there's a great twist at the end. Yeah, and the twist is the audience is illiterate. Thank you. All right. Oh, man. So I heard William Shatner's latest album, Just Keep Coming Up With Numbers. His latest album was Just Keep Coming Up With Numbers. It was great. Yeah. But it was terrible, but it's William Shatner, so it's great. Because that's what a William Shatner is supposed to be. A William Shatner album is supposed to be stupid and great. So anyways, he did a cover of 8675309 by Tommy Two Town. You ever hear that one? 8675309. It's supposed to be melodic. But William Shatner's version wasn't very melodic. Yeah, William Shatner just kept repeating the number until you got it. Yeah, he just kept saying 86,75,399. Oh, man. So my ex-girlfriend has a Mayan calendar tattooed on her back. Yeah, my ex-girlfriend has a Mayan calendar tattooed on her back. In 2012, she expired. Thank you. Alright, I'd like to do an impression for you because I'm a stand-up comic. It's an impression of a guy who doesn't stretch in the morning. Thank you. This is the impression of a guy who doesn't stretch in the morning. Alright. What's another smart joke? You know these people who say children should be seen and not heard? All these people? Like, why are the kids always screaming and wearing camouflage pants? That's what I want to know. Oh. Alright. So Durex, the condom company, he just came out with a condom that enhances male sensitivity. Finally, just what we've all been waiting for. For added value, each condom is wrapped in its own little apology note. That's a smart joke. Kind of. It's depressing, though, too. So sometimes I think the news is fake because people are holograms. And I've done a lot of acid. Thank you. That's a good joke. I've done a lot of acid. Like, you could tell. Like, I've done acid over 300 times. Done acid over 300 times this year, and acid doesn't affect me. Acid doesn't affect me one bit. Acid makes me incredibly sober. I just wake up every morning thinking, oh great, the sky's exploding, how should I dress? You know, covered in ants or covered in spiders, like what do I choose? Ugh. Man. So what did Tweaker Jesus say to his disciples at the Last Supper? What did Tweaker Jesus say to his disciples at the Last Supper? He said, this is my meth, this is my bicycle. Take this and help me look for it. Thank you. Oh, God. So anyways, I'm a life coach. I'm a life coach because people are desperate and need to be disappointed. So before you go, because you're not going to be here anymore, I'm still going to exist. I mean, it's a stand-up comedy album, but before you go, let me give you a bit of advice. It's like the way I start off all my life coaching sessions with, you know, my my victims or whatever. I just tell them, hey, the only thing worse than failure is listening to someone tell you how to be better at it. And then they pay me. They pay me money. $60. Actually, it's more like $250 now because of inflation. Anyways, I've been Mike Coppolino, and this has been like stand-up comedy, kind of. I don't know how long this has gone or what jokes I've done, but it's been like 20 minutes. Thanks. It's been like December 31st, 2020. That's the end of it. All right. Anyways, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. What did I win?